That's what we wanted to see. Thank you. All right. Got something special for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Osric Chau, Carroll, and Curtis Armstrong.
This is such a big stage. I feel like we should use it. I'm gonna stand on this corner. You can stand on that corner. Curtis, you can take the middle.
That's a really white Photoshop, but we're in here.
Sorry, never mind.
You guys gonna work some magic out here with your little, whoa, look at that. Bring it on.
Okay, guys, on the count of 3, go bananas. 1, 2. Oh, that's right. 1, 2, 3.
Amazing.
Oh, I like to see that though.
Amazing. Hi guys. Are you having a blast? Oh, look at that table. Just like that. Thank you for
Wow,
having
this is
me.
incredible. Can I just say how amazingly run this fan experience has been?
This is you.
Like, this is great.
I'm gonna go
It
right
just
here.
appeared.
Is this boy, girl, boy, girl?
Yeah, I guess.
Only it's just boy, girl, boy.
There's good looking, beautiful, and Curtis.
It's all right. Me?
Yes, Curtis, we love you.
Some of them love me, despite everything.
It's okay. Curtis, I love you, Curtis.
I love Curtis very much.
Thank you.
Despite everything.
Yeah.
She's beaten me, but
Oh, it was so fun. Smashing his head into a
yeah.
so.
And I like to think that Osric has forgiven me.
Yeah, but forgiveness is a big part of life, you know?
Yeah.
You did put him out of a job, technically, right?
Yeah.
Ouch. And life. The life part is important.
So, all right. Well, that, you know, that too.
Well, welcome to Salt Lake City. And FanX, #FanX 16. We got to do that.
Hashtag hello.
Supernatural.
Hashtag supernatural.
That's right.
Hashtag
Curtis Armstrong.
Curtis Armstrong.
Yeah.
Hashtag Xfinity.
Everything. Hashtag it all.
Hashtag Kevin lives? No, okay. No, he's very dead. He's very dead.
Hashtag bring Hannah back.
So we're gonna. This is all for the fans. We're gonna hear a bunch of questions from the fans, but I'm gonna start this off with this. You know, technically working on a television show, you know, day in and day out, you're working a lot of hours, and every episode, it seems, has a new director, things like that. How does that change the pacing of the show for you as actors? Do they all have to watch the previous shows to kind of get the feeling of it? What's your thought?
Supernatural is new directors, but the crew itself, a lot of which has been working together for 11 years now. And it's such a well-oiled machine that, honestly, if I were to ever direct TV, I'm like, Supernatural, please, because I know that all I would have to do is show up and everyone would be, and if I did something wrong, they're like, oh, maybe we should do this. I'm like, yes, we will do that. Because a lot of the crew members now have directed episodes, and honestly, it is like having 50 directors. I mean, they still go under the unified vision of the director, but you have so many people who know the vision of the show, and it's so smooth when they do it. Yeah, I don't think it's ever clunky.
It's an amazing show, by the way, as evident by this full house. So, would you like to hear some questions from your fans?
Certainly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do that right away.
Is everybody on this side? Yeah.
Is that there? Oh my!
Oh.
But I want to. I'm gonna look at you on the screen.
All right. My name is Keaton, and my name is Keaton, and my question is for Osric. So I'm over here. Hi.
Sorry.
He's looking at the monitor.
But
Those are
that's
like-
you in HD. Okay, hi Keith.
Hi. So my question is, you were in a Hillywood's episode, and I wanted to know, everyone loved it. I wanted to know what you thought of YouTube as an industry and where you think it's going.
YouTube has changed the industry. It's gotten to the, and it's a double-edged sword. Like before, breaking into film and TV was so hard because you needed hundreds of thousands of dollars minimum to pay for the camera, the film, and the crew to man it or women it. And nowadays, YouTube, any phone camera can record anything, and so anyone can do something and make it happen. Of course, with that being said, it's the market. Every market is saturated because there's just so many content creators now. So now it's like a race of who persists, who keeps doing it, and who pushes through that part where eventually the people give up and a couple don't. So I think it's changing the industry. We have a couple of YouTubers now who are starting to get network shows, movie deals, or just doing it themselves because they are their own filmmakers, they're their own crew, and they found a way to make it work for them. So it's incredibly lucrative, and I think they've made pretty much everyone on the other side start thinking and looking at social media in a very, very different light now. It used to be frowned upon, and I think they're starting to look at them for guidance. So yeah, it's awesome. And Hillywood, they're doing amazing things as well.
Hi, I'm Julia. So, as you can probably tell, I really love casts. So, my question for you guys is, what was your favorite scene to film with Misha?
Erica, you must have a bunch, don't you?
I don't. Cass.
Cass? That's the angel, right?
My favorite scene with Misha.
Curtis, have
You
you
know
ever done? Oh, wait.
the worst part about filming with Misha is having to kiss him. Oh God.
Tell me about
You
it.
don't get paid enough, You don't. You just don't. Honestly, working with Misha is fantastic. He's so fun, and I mean, besides him trying to sabotage every take, because he's, Jensen and Jared pick on him so much that I think when I came along, he was like, yes, get someone to pick on. So it was fantastic. It was really great. He's a terrific scene partner, so I really love working with him.
Yeah, I have the same feeling with him, and what's interesting is that as it's gone on with Metatron, it turns out just through circumstance of story that I've worked more with Misha than I have with anyone else, and so we've really gotten into kind of a great groove for when we do get a chance to work together. And so for me, my favorite, it's hard to pick again, but my favorite scenes, I think there are two. One of them is the one from, I forget what season, where it was, I guess, last year, where we were in the diner together, and it was right after Metatron had become human, so he was eating waffles, and it was like a sexual experience because he had been, he hadn't done anything like that in so long, and he was just discovering the world. And that scene between the two of us was one of my favorites. And then another one, strangely enough, is the one from this season, I think, where Metatron winds up almost beating, Castiel almost winds up beating Metatron to death. And it wasn't the beating up that I loved, although I'm getting used to it. It was more the discussion that we were having before he started beating me up. I liked that. I liked that whole sequence. It was a lot of fun. And he is wonderful. You knew that.
And just, sorry. No. I like the scene where Hannah was trying to figure out the secret of the bean casserole, the surprise. And then, it's very confusing. And then discovering, Castiel on the couch, the coat. I just thought it was such a sweet little scene. So I like that one.
Aw.
Exactly.
I've never worked with Misha without Jared and Jensen, and I feel like it's a very different experience. Because most of the time they're just like running around, throwing things at each other. And Jared and Jensen are just trying to get something out of Misha, so it's. I can't say that I've actually worked with Misha. I've worked beside Misha trying to work with Jared and Jensen, literally trying everything that they can to distract him. But I have done a lot with Misha, like outside of Supernatural. With his charity Random Acts, we've done a lot of random acts with him, I guess. Probably the most fun, we did this E4K, which is like an endurance for kindness thing. And so we took a kayak down the Fraser River, and he was in a suit, and I was in my Sailor Jupiter outfit. And we just paddled, and we thought we were gonna go so far, because we did our research, like, okay, current's going like 3-4 kilometers an hour, we thought we'd make like 50 kilometers, and I think we did like 3. We were like looking at the time, he's like, I really should get back, like Vicky's gonna be really mad at me. It was kind of pathetic, but it was fun.
I'm gonna throw a little love at Curtis though. Risky Business, Revenge of the Nerds, Better Off Dead, Moonlighting. Great stuff, man. And I grew up with that stuff and more with you. And we talked a little bit backstage about it, but thank you for those movies.
Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, I can't take credit for the movies, but I certainly enjoyed doing them. Anyway. Yeah, you know what? One last thing on that other point, when you were talking about never working with Misha without Jared and Jensen and all of the stuff that goes on, because this is the big question that everybody wants to know all the time, which is, what was the best prank that, Jared or Jensen played on you? And they still have never pranked me. And I realized after a while that I was like the only person who's ever appeared on the show who has never been pranked. And I keep waiting for it. You didn't either. She didn't either. You never did? So, okay, I feel better now. I thought it was just me.
I think they tried to sabotage me on the other side of camera, but there was no
See, they've never even done that to me.
Well, mad respect for you though.
I think
they probably intimidated.
It isn't respect. I think it's like, maybe they're pranked out or something. I mean, it's just been 11 years of pranking people, and they're just going, enough. So, I don't know. I came in too late for it, anyway.
That's okay. It's not something to regret this.
Hi, I'm Gia. I have a question for Osric. So my question is, how long has it been since you've met up with everybody on the cast, like just to go back and visit with them, like the main cast, like with Cass and Dean,
Wait,
Sam?
You mean Misha, Jared, Jensen? Or do we, like when we hang out in character?
Those are fun
We
days,
should
aren't
totally
they?
do that someday.
Let's just hang out in character.
When was the last? I mean, there's a lot of Supernatural conventions, and usually we like hang out in the green room, and usually we do a concert Saturday nights. Rob Benedict has a band, Loud and Swain, and they do a concert, and so that's when everyone comes together. And sometimes Jensen and Jared will come back, and we'll just hang out in the back. And that's the only time we really like hang out. We did the Tough Mudder last year with a couple of guys, and that was a lot of fun. It was kind of like a camping trip, except we'd run in the mud. We did it in Austin, Texas.
Oh wow.
It was great. But apart from that, like these conventions has kind of brought us all together. Like, it's awesome being able to hang out with Curtis and Erica here in Salt Lake City of all places. It's such a cool thing to experience. And that is largely due to the fact that, of you guys, there's such a passion for this show that you guys kind of bring us together. And honestly, a lot of people that I've worked with Curtis, but I've never worked with Erica. Like, we're friends now than we never would have been if it weren't for you guys bringing us together.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I love this guy.
yeah, there's so many friendships that I've made, like, from the show, but never having worked with them on the show, which is kind of a weird thing if you think about it.
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I was wondering what your favorite aspect of your characters were.
I would say that what I love about Metatron is the fact that he loves stories and he loves books. Being the scribe of God and being centered in that since creation, beginning with sort of oral histories to now. Because I'm a book collector and I love reading, and so for me, getting a character with that kind of background was just delicious, and I still love it.
Hannah, I love that Hannah was an angel. I mean, that's just pretty cool. I'm a fan of angels, so when I got that one, I was pretty pumped. I like that Hannah had a set of rules that the angel wanted to stick with and had the integrity to stick with that. So I really, really appreciate that part of it.
For Kevin, I like his ability to adapt, and I think it comes from my love of Dragon Ball. Which is really weird. I used to watch this show, and I would watch these characters, like, literally almost killing themselves so that they could recover and be stronger. And at some point I realized, oh, that's what we all have. You know, we try something, we fail miserably, we almost die, and then we come back with new lessons learned, and we're much stronger for it. And for me, watching Kevin do that, it's a reminder of that power that we all have, of constantly being put in these situations that we're completely not prepared for, and somehow we figure out a way to learn and adapt to it, and then, make that the new thing. So watching Kevin evolve through all these stages, through all these challenges, constantly being kidnapped, and just finding a way to make that normal for him again, has been something that I really admire about Kevin.
Hey, I just wanted to ask, what were some of your most memorable moments on set?
It was my first episode ever, 7/21, reading is fundamental. My first week was a very different experience. I met Jared first, and it was the scene where I'm running away from Sam, and I won. I'm a really good runner, and I beat Jared in a foot race. So that was pretty cool. But Jared was about to have his first child, and so there was a different energy. He was very nice and in the opposite of a prankster mood, and so that's what I thought the whole experience was going to be. But it was just very surreal, It was like a very kind of a hush thing. We'd just do our job, and then at the very last shot that he did, he gets his call, and he's like, oh, my wife's in labor, and my wife is pregnant. Yep, okay. And then he, and like very respectful, he's like, hey, is it okay if you like shoot out the rest without me? I'm like, yes, go to your baby, and he just like runs off, and that was like the first time I ever met the guy, and then Monday he was a dad. It was such a surreal experience, and then I was back to normal, and it was a crazy set. And, yeah, it was hard to stay professional after that.
There's so many though. I was shooting, I was only supposed to do I was in season 1, and then I came back into season 9, and I was doing was supposed to be in one episode and it turned into 7, which was really cool, so that was a perk. And the second episode, I was filming on my birthday, and I was, it was Stairway to Heaven was the episode, and I just came onto set, and I mean, the crew is such a well-oiled machine, they're such a warm family, and we're just about to start the shot, and they're just like, oh, sorry guys, hold on 1 second. And then they all just started singing happy birthday. And I don't mean like, you know, when you get a cake at a restaurant, people are kind of like half doing it. These guys, they were harmonizing. It was like shivers. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? I tried not to cry. It was quite beautiful. They're really talented, these guys. They've done it a few times over the 12 years. There was one other, being directed by Jensen. He was fantastic. That was, I can't remember what episode. Anybody know? No, great. And the last one was smashing Curtis's face into the jail cell.
That was so fun.
Wasn't it great?
Oh my God, the way she did it over and over.
Take after take. We couldn't get it right.
After take. I would say the most memorable for me was actually the first one, because it was I was working with Jared and Jensen and Osric on the first scene, right? That's the way I remember it anyway, we were all together. And I'd come up to do it, and of course I'd seen the show, but I hadn't watched all of them, so I was a little vague on the mythology. And I was on my way up, and I was realizing at that point they were reaching the end of their 8th season. And I've worked on a lot of TV shows over the years with actors who've been on a show for a long time. And I'm telling you, it can get really ugly because they're sick of it. They're tired of playing the roles. They're tired of redoing the same things over and over again. And when they bring in guest stars, the guest stars usually wind up paying for it because these people just don't want to be bothered. And it's always a drag. So I was on my way up to Vancouver and thinking, well, this is probably going to be horrible, these guys. I mean, you know, who knows what they're feeling at this point. They probably are sick of the show and all that. And then I got onto the set, and it's like, oh, welcome, and suddenly, and they're, not only are they just really warm and engaging and wonderful people, but they're also, you know, so involved in the scene, and they're, you know, working with you as actors, you know, and on these shows sometimes you get out of that and it becomes rote for everybody, and it wasn't for them. And I think I worked with Misha. I didn't work with Misha that episode, I don't think. I worked with him the next episode, but it was the same way with him. But that first day was remarkable because we spent the whole day in Metatron's room with all the books, and these guys were just awesome, and it was totally not what I was expecting. That's fine.
So hi, my name is Jessie. Just first off, like to say Osric, you are sight for sore eyes. Sorry. My question is, being that all 3 of your characters are no longer on the show, do any of you wish that you had been cast to play a different role so that you could continue acting, being on the show?
Crowley. I've always had a thing for Crowley. I kind of want to be Crowley.
I'd love to be Rowena. But I'm very happy with Hannah. I mean, I was so happy to play that. But if I got to choose another one, Rowena. Yeah. She's so mischievous and saucy and Scottish. I think I would butcher the Scottish though. So yeah.
That's exactly what I think about Crowley.
Saucy and Scottish.
No, minus the Scottish.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I just was so engaged watching those faces, and I was just like, no. If I had to pick another one, was the question? I wouldn't pick another one. I'm sorry, but the run of that character of Metatron, who probably everybody knows was another one of those characters who was brought in for, you know, a couple of episodes and was supposed to be killed off and then wound up continuing. So for me, it's probably been the greatest television role that I have had in my entire career. There's been nothing. Moonlighting was is close, but this was the most amazing character and gave me opportunities to do things I never get to do anymore. So I would never, ever, ever change it. For the longest running job in Hollywood, it was great.
Can I just say, as an actor, when I found out that Curtis was on the show, he would be on set shooting scenes, and I would come out for my trailer just to watch this guy. Like, he is, no, seriously, like, this guy just shows up and he is like, boom, he just nails it. And everyone, crew, everyone that, we were talking behind your back, sorry. I know this is like, but everyone's just, I'm just like, isn't he just, he's just so good.
Yeah.
Like, cause you're watching him and he's just fierce, man. He's
Thank you so much.
Quite the actor, this guy. Thank you. Are you serious? Thank you. I did try to step up my game. Thanks, Steve.
Okay, so you guys are all amazing, but this is towards Osric. What was your favorite moment with working with Mark Shepard?
I love Mark. You guys have stories? Have you guys worked with Mark? Yeah, you have.
I have never worked with Mark.
Oh, you haven't had the blessing.
No, never.
Anyone know, was I?
Okay.
Yes, I was. I did work with him, yeah.
Do you have a good Mark story?
Let me think. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll tell you my favorite Mark story. Okay, so this is why I love Mark so much. Mark is, as you probably know, he's Mark Shepard. But when I first met him, I did not know that. And so I introduced myself on the first day that I worked with him. And it was only a one-day thing, and then it was like the end of the season, he kidnaps me. And I'm like, hey, my name is Osric, what's your name? And he's standing right here, and he just looks at me, and he goes, and he points at his chair, Mark Shepard. And so I'm like, oh, Mark, very nice to meet you, Mark. And that was about the interaction that we had that day. And then, like 4 months later, I went to San Diego Comic-Con for the first time. And it was an incredible experience. Season 7, Kevin had like really long hair. I did a web series for Halo, and they shaved it off. So you know, it's a completely different look. Supernatural, like my episodes just started airing, and so I was new. I didn't really know the fandom or anything, and I was just wandering around. And you know how San Diego Comic-Con, there's, I mean, thousands upon thousands of people just condensed in a pack. And I was going through this railroad there, and in the entire weekend, 4 people recognized me. While I was walking through this railroad, I get this hand on my shoulder, and I turn around, and it's Mark, and he's like, Osric! This just proves you don't all look alike. It's a crowd of thousands of people, and I look completely different, and only worked with this man for 1 day, and he says that to me. And he's with Jim Beaver and Misha, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I was gonna find some like food. And he's like, well, just come, and then he just took me on a San Diego Comic-Con adventure for the rest of the day, and it was so weird. But that kind of like shows the relationship I have with Mark. You know, sometimes he's pointing at a chair, sometimes he's picking me out of a crowd of thousands of people. I never know where I stand with them. But
That's the thing about Mark, you just don't know.
But I love it.
It's great.
Do you have an encounter that you want to share?
I have a different relationship with Mark from on set because Mark was on Battlestar Galactica. Does anyone know that show? And my husband's a sound mixer in the industry, so he did Battlestar. So Mark had a relationship with my husband for a long time, and so they've got a real closeness because that show was, I mean, similar to similar to Supernatural, a really strong family and that. So, yeah, he didn't point at any chairs for me. He gave me a nice big warm hug, so that was nice. Yeah.
Wait, he does that?
Yes, he's capable. Yes, he is. Yeah, yeah.
I will tell a story about my most memorable encounter. I've never acted with him ever. We've never been put in a scene together. But the first time I met him, and I was going up to Vancouver, and I'm going to have to edit this story for content due to language. But what he did was I was going up, and I was on Twitter, right? And I wrote a Twitter saying, on my way up to Vancouver, and who knows? I'd seen Mark was going to be in the script, so I thought, well, I'll see him on the set. It was really exciting. And I wrote a tweet to that effect and said, maybe this time I will get to see Mark Shepard. We've been passing like ships in the night. That's what I wrote on my tweet. I thought it was kind of adorable. So I go up to Vancouver, and I get there, and they're just breaking for lunch on the set. They have just finished with Mark. He's done for the episode. So I figure, okay, I've missed him again. So I go into the tent, and I was sitting there eating lunch. And suddenly, from behind me, I hear this voice. And it said something like this. All right, you met me. Now stop tweeting about it. Only there was a word in there that I dropped out.
But he was joking, right? He was joking?
I didn't know because he yells at me from behind. I drop my fork, turn around, and he's walking out of the tent. And that was it. That was my only encounter with him.
I love that.
Disappeared. I know. I'll yell at the new kid and then leave.
Best story ever.
That's why he's our favorite.
I just like to say I love you all, you guys. My question for you guys is, what was your favorite episode while working with Jensen?
There's so many. See, for me, working with Jensen is like, he is on the ball with everything. You know, he jokes around, but when we're starting, he gets right there. You know, and he's so present, like so instantly. It's such an amazing gift to be able to do that. For me, I think it was my death episode, where we went through all that, and it was primarily with Jensen. And the reason why it stuck in my head so much, and it was a little bit sad, because I thought it was like going to be like, that was it. And this was like first time I ever had a job that felt like, you know, a normal job where I'd go in every day, I'd see the same people, and it was such a wonderful family to go into. But the last 3 hours of that day was the death. And so I said my goodbyes in the morning, and I put on prosthetics, and so I was completely blind for the last 3 hours of that day. And so I was being ushered around, you know, I had people like showing me where to go, and it was kind of a hushed set because, you know, everyone knew it was coming. And so the last few words that I ever heard was just Jensen talking. And a lot of it was just him, like, saying, Kevin, Kevin. And so it was like it was kind of tough to go through, but it really cemented in my head. And just that whole tone that, you know, the director, Jensen, Jared, you know, they all kind of just brought it down. And just definitely made it way more emotional for me, because usually I was like, okay, I'll just go and die and then I'll leave. But didn't really get to do that, and so it was so tough that like as soon as I took off my prosthetics, I couldn't even go back and say bye to everyone. I just kind of like slunk away. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be too tough, so it just went away. But yeah, Jensen's voice was the last thing that I remember hearing from that day. And then they brought me back, and then I haunted them for a bit.
For me, it was being directed by Jensen. I had an impression of the guys just from watching the show, and I had worked with them in the first season, but it was very like quick kind of thing. And then when I met them and realized how, they're hilarious. Like, they are so funny. And I was like, okay, so you're super good looking, super funny, and super smart. Okay, so this is gonna be hard.
And he can sing too.
And he can sing, like what the, anyway. And he can direct. And he was just so gracious and, I'd be doing a couple, normally I would just get the opportunity to do 1 or 2 takes and they'd be like, okay, great, we're moving on. But Jensen, he would be off camera and he'd be watching and he'd come over to me and he'd just be like, okay, so, and he would just give me a couple little words and a little tiny tweak, and he's like, he knew exactly what to say to get me to do what he wanted, and then he'd be right next to the camera watching, where a lot of the times they'll be just, a half a mile away in a tent somewhere. And then as soon as I did it, he'd come and he's like, you felt it, right? That was it? Yeah? And like, he'd know. So it was really nice to work with an actor-director. And I just had even more mad respect, just seeing the way that he handled set, and just the organization of it, and he was just such a pro, so that was my favorite. Yeah.
My favorite scene with Jensen was when I killed him.
Okay, so my question is for Osric and Hannah, Erica. So spoiler alert if you're not caught up on Supernatural, but how did you both react when you were killed off?
Wait, we died?
What? I don't know why they keep trying to keep me off the lot. You're not on the show anymore. Well, for me, we don't get the scripts too far ahead. And I wasn't getting any spoilers, and so I was sitting on my couch reading Girls, 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 and I was like, oh my god, what's that? And then I just hit the ice cream. I was just like, it's over. But then I was like, well, technically Hannah's just leaving the vessel. I mean, she might come back, and I was trying to, and I couldn't find any way out of it.
You are the vessel.
Well, this is the thing, so who knows, right? Carolyn could possibly become a hunter, I don't know, maybe. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, usually we get the scripts like really, really close to, but when they have like a long outline, Jared actually came up to me early one day on set, and he's like, hey buddy, like I'm sorry to tell you this, but like I'm killing you in whatever episode. And my first reaction was, shut up, Jared, you're an idiot. Because, he does this. He's the boy that cried wolf. I don't really believe anything he says ever. So, he shows me the outline on the phone, so I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's a real thing. And this was like months before, so I kind of had it in the back of my head that they were going to change it. So I had some time to prepare, thankfully. But finding out how I was gonna die before that happened, I did a convention in Chicago, and someone asked me like, "Hey, if Kevin were to die, how would he die?" And I was just trying to be cheeky. I'm like, "Sam kills Kevin," and I just threw it out there. And Sam killed Kevin. I'm never doing that again.
Don't give them any ideas.
No.
Hi, my name is Cheyenne, and I was just wondering, what is the funniest blooper that's ever happened on set?
Bloopers when they catch it on.
There's a scene, it was actually in the blooper reel, the scene with Misha where he's trying to, the camera's on him and Jared and Jensen. I don't know if you remember, they're in the office and Misha's like, if they had told me that this is what it was going to be like in theater school, then Jared's like, you went to theater school? Yes. And he's like, oh God. And I was sitting at Video Village and I was just tears streaming because they were like, you guys, you have no idea. Poor Misha. The guy is trying, he's digging so deep and he's like, and you can see him, and I'm like, oh, he's going, because this guy B was directing that episode, and he and I are just like, and you can just hear all around the set, you can just hear people snickering, and the camera guys are like, and Misha's still, he's like, I know we can't use this take, but okay, just shut up, guys, okay, and he just kept starting and stopping. The guys are ruthless, like ruthless to him. I actually did, does anyone remember the scene where Hannah greets Misha, or what's his name? Castiel, at the hotel, and he opens the door, and he's not fully clothed. Yeah. And at on one take, I was just like, I have to, so. They open the door, and the camera's on me, and they open it, and I just look down, and I go, whoa! Whoa, and Misha's he kind of tweaks for a second because he was in character. He was all like, he was being really gracious and giving me stuff off camera. You know, he's supposed to be tired and half dead and all that. And he just goes. And then his line was, I'm sensing awkwardness. And he was like, I'm sensing eagerness. And he didn't make it into the bloopers, but the thing was though, is like, you know, when you come in and you're not one of the main people, you just want to make sure you nail every take and you get everything done and you do it right and you get out. Right? You just don't want to get fired. And so for me to like, take a risk and just do that, but the thing was is when I did it, it was silent. Nobody made a sound, and I was like, I am so tired. And then they cut, and everyone laughed, but it's just like, they're pros, and the guys are always doing bloopers, so they always roll on it, because it's, I mean, have you seen their blooper reels? Seriously, when I'm having a bad day, I pull up supernatural blooper reels, and I'm just like, oh, these guys. So that was my favorite. And my most terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. And then the director, he was like, yeah, Erica, and I was like, little smaller? Little smaller? He's like, yeah. I was like, wait, the reaction or? Yeah, so that's that.
No, I don't have one, honestly. I don't have one.
Yeah, we don't, again, same with the thing, you know, just trying to get it done right, you know, sometimes they'll try to make you smile, but, you know, for the most part, not blooper worthy. The one thing that I really did enjoy was, we did this Harlem Shake, and it was, I was not working that day, I'm like, well, someone's gonna be in the sleeping bag, because there was always a sleeping bag, and so I drove out like an hour on my day off to show up, just to lie on the floor, and we didn't have a sleeping bag, so they had a body bag, so I went in the body bag.
They did.
Yeah. And that was like, you know, we had permission to have fun. You know, but I totally agree with you.
It's so scary.
It's so scary to like take a chance. Even, I don't know, I'm just terrified.
It was really sweet actually after I did it. I was totally shaking there. I had to do another take. And Brad, he was like, that was so funny. He's just sitting in the camera and he's like, that was so good. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get fired. And he was like, oh, as if. He's like, you're part of the family now. And I was like, I'm part of the family. Thanks, guys. And then I got killed in the next episode. Not so much.
This might be our last question. We're just so far out of time.
Sorry guys, we talk a lot.
Hi, my name's Melissa. I think I can speak for a lot of us when I say that our geekdoms are what got us through the hardest parts of our lives. So I would really like to express how important the You Are Not Alone project is, see what you guys' perspective on that project is.
Wait, which project?
You Are Not Alone?
You Are Not Alone. Oh, You Are Not Alone. You Are Not Alone is, it's a, I guess, what do you call it? A movement, a charity, kind of. It's an awareness thing that it's Jensen and Misha's thing. Anytime you have a platform, you have a voice, you have influence on people. Stanley said it best with Spider-Man. With great responsibility comes great power. So, in essence, we have a power, to influence people, to talk, people listen, and it's up to us to kind of use that for, some good things as well. So with Jensen and Misha, You Are Not Alone, that's certainly a wonderful message, especially within our fandom. We have a lot of people suffering from depression, and just, that simple message of saying, hey, this is a family. It's not just us, it's all of you. You guys made it what it is, and you are not alone, because if you ask anybody, they will, like 99% of the time, you'll have someone in the fandom rush to you, ready to help you out. So it's just having that in your head. I think it's a wonderful thing that they're doing, and I mean, most of the cast do some sort of awareness, charity stuff, and again, it starts with you guys. So, I mean, there's not one that we all support more. It's it's all for good causes, so we all support each other for sure.
Osric, thank you, Erica, thank you, Curtis. Thank you for being here. I understand that you guys are going out to the car on the floor and doing a photo shoot.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I've been there
For selfies.
Oh, right, yeah.
All three of us are going to go over to Baby and take some photos if anyone wants to come and join us.
It's selfie time.
Yeah, it's selfie time, yo. Yeah.
Thank you guys for making FanX this incredible. Yeah. It was just